This is the fun stuff, Jon Heyman. You got quite the introduction over there. Good
Very
morning.
exciting.
That's
I
right.
am not twitchy. I agree.
That's okay. You've got a ton
it.
of information, and I need it all. We showed you earlier in the show the absolute admiration Guardians fans showed for Terry Francona, calling it a career, and what a career it's been. It leaves a vacancy, so it begs the question, what is next in Cleveland?
Well, they've got several options. DeMarlo Hale from the staff, Sandy Alomar Jr. also from the staff, possibilities. I think Will Venable, he played at Princeton with Mike Chernoff, the GM, so he is the bench coach for the Rangers right now, also possibility. You know, I wouldn't rule out Craig Counsell as somebody they may look at. Look, they have paid big for managers in the past, not in the very recent past, as we see Terry Francona here, won 900 games there on his way to the Hall of Fame. I also want to note that he hasn't used the word retirement a lot. You know, he's stepping away. We shall see. We don't know for sure this is the end for Francona, but he's not coming back next year as the manager of the Guardians.
We keep hearing Craig Counsell. Does that mean he's all but gone in Milwaukee? What's the story here?
Well, this is an unusual situation where we have a great manager who is a free agent. He has not signed. He deferred the contract talks with the Brewers. Should be interesting to see what happens. Now, he is a rare manager who lives year-round in the town in which he manages. It is his hometown team. His dad, Jon Counsell, was an executive for Bud Selig with the Brewers. He has homes in Milwaukee. His two daughters go to school there. You know, it's going to be difficult, I think, to lure him somewhere else, but of course he wants to, like anybody else, he wants to be paid. He makes $3.5 million right now, not at the top of the market. $6 million, Bruce Bochy is the top of the market, so we shall see. The logical thought would be the Mets, because obviously David Stearns, his old boss in Milwaukee, is going to be the guy making that decision with the Mets. So that would be a possibility. Could be other possibilities as well, but it's going to take a lot, I think, to lure him away.
Where does that leave Buck Showalter? Does he want to come back?
I'm sure that he'd like to come back, and you know, right now it's up in the air. He could be brought back, and if he is brought back, presumably it would be as a lame duck. This was not Buck Showalter's fault. He did not do anything wrong. Very unusual situation there where they won 101 games the previous year. Fourth Manager of the Year award for Buck Showalter. This year they obviously underachieved. So the conventional wisdom is that David Stearns will pick his own man and move on, but he could give Buck Showalter a year and see how it plays out. Obviously, he's been quite a successful manager in his career.
And you could say the same thing about Aaron Boone and Aaron Judge, very vocal, saying we want him back as our manager. Does it look like it's trending that way?
I think so. I think his interpersonal relationships are all excellent. I mean, Aaron Judge is obviously an important one. The clubhouse, all important. Most important are Hal Steinbrenner and Brian Cashman, and they both love Aaron Boone. He is great in the clubhouse. Some would say might need a little work in the dugout, but you know what? It's another winning season for the Yankees. I know it's been tabbed a disaster, but I think it'll be a surprise if they move on from Aaron Boone.
It's so interesting because we've seen first-time managers, Skip Schumacher in South Florida, do amazing jobs, and then we've seen the juxtaposition of maybe Bruce Bochy, who's done it for a long time, and go to Texas and have success. What is the blueprint? What are people and teams looking for? Because they're both so different.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the team, the ability to pay and all that. One thing I would note, and I've heard this from a few executives around the league, the change in the rules, the speeding up of the game, hasn't been difficult for veteran managers who are used to having 3-4 batters to warm up pitchers.
That's interesting.
Sometimes now, they at least at the beginning of the year, they were doing it too quickly, and you know it went by like this. You know, you got 15 seconds now, and the batter could go in a matter of seconds. So I think it's been a little bit of a challenge for some of these veteran managers. But there is obviously an excellent group with Francona, with Baker, Showalter, Melvin. A lot of good ones, but I think it's been a transition for some of them.
A.J. Hinch at the helm in Detroit, and he's got an arm there that we thought was all but gone at the deadline. Eduardo Rodriguez, we were sitting right here in moments. We thought he was a Los Angeles Dodger. What does the offseason look like for him?
Well, he does have the opt-out. He's got 3 years and $49 million to go. The likelihood, he's got a 3.40 ERA, got a WAR over 3, had a very good year. We know he loves Detroit, but the likelihood is that he will opt out and try to improve that. Does that mean he leaves Detroit? No, not necessarily. Maybe they give him an extra year. Maybe they improve on it a little bit, but 3 years and 49, probably a little light for Eduardo Rodriguez right now.
Okay, Tigers perhaps trying to build around some of their young stars, and that's what A.J. Preller did, right, in San Diego, amassing as much talent as he could. I remember a year ago we announced Juan Soto. That was the big deadline deal. What's his future, John?
Well, it's interesting because the situation now is that they did lose some money in San Diego. Obviously, they drew a lot. They're rallying at the end. Doesn't look like they're going to make the playoffs, but, obviously a disappointing season in San Diego. And there is going to be speculation about Juan Soto and whether he could be traded. The other three big stars, Machado, Tatis, and Bogarts, all have no trades. Soto, much younger player, does not have a no trade. It will be a consideration. My belief is it's really not in their DNA to be sellers.
Sure.
They're really buyers. I think it's unlikely. We're going to hear a lot of speculation, probably about both New York teams. Certainly would be a fit in the Bronx. They need left-handed bats. Obviously, with Steve Cohen, they could do anything they want. So I'm sure we're going to hear a lot of speculation. Ultimately, I just don't see San Diego doing it, but speculation season is beginning.
Yeah, it's going to be fun for us to watch and busy for you, my friend. Jon Heyman, thank you so much.